Good evening for fellow Hurricane fans. I'm not going to waste too much time. This is, just as the title says, is a very, very, very early preview of our week one matchup against the Florida Gators in Gainesville. So, again, let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. And as I'm starting, please, of course, hit that like button. Now, as we all know, we open the season in Gainesville against one of our favorite teams, the Florida Gators. Yeah, a lot of people have us, like Juan Manuel just said, us whooping their butts. A lot of people, well, I think that's more wishful thinking than from this fan base than anything, because we all know this is the swamp. It's the Gators on the road. I don't care how bad they were last year or what their record was. I think they were better than what their record showed, a lot like we were. A lot of people, I don't think are willing to admit that this is going to be a dogfight. Okay. I think what Tanga here is saying is a little closer to what I think is going to happen. I think it'll be a very close game in the first half. They'll come out swinging with first game jitters at all. Second half, we bring a Category 5 Hurricane and silence them. That's what I'm hoping for. Close at first, maybe pull away in the fourth quarter. But I think the crowd is definitely going to be a factor. It's an incredible college football atmosphere when that place is packed. I'm sure it's going to be at night. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. And I think it's going to be a fight. It's going to be an uphill battle. Norman, thank you for the donation. As always, what's good, Canes Nation? So there's some matchups I want to go over within this game, because I look at the rosters top to bottom. I look at the two deep, the different matchups, who's going to be out there, to try to get a very early feel for this game. Because again, it's May 9th. It's still a ways. Well, not as much of a ways as you think. It's like at the end of this month. So May 31st will be exactly 3 months away from the game. So we're under 4 months away from kickoff. That's not that long. I mean, it seems like just yesterday that bowl game was just finishing, and which was in December, late December. And we went from there to May like that. It's going to fly by. So who do you really think has the better roster? I think our Canes have the better roster. Not by a mile, and I'll dive into that a little more. I think the Gators are pretty solid at a lot of positions, believe it or not. But I think I would give us the edge as far as roster goes. Now, I'm going to start out with what makes me a little nervous about this game. Obviously, the crowd. If we get off to a fast start, if we score first, I think we can silence that crowd. If we score on the first drive, which is very possible, we have the quarterback to do so, we have the running game to do so, I think we can quiet that crowd down very quickly with an early touchdown. However, you can't let them get into the game. And I mean the crowd. If you let them get a couple of stops, get them some momentum, they get a field goal on us, maybe a touchdown to take an early lead, I won't panic. Hopefully there won't be any panic in our team, but that will be an uphill battle to climb. Okay. And this being the first game of the season, we haven't had a chance to go out there and get our reps in and gel together yet. So again, I think we have the better team. We're going to have the better season. But if there's any reason they get us, it's one of the main reasons will be because of that. It's the first game. But yeah, getting off to a fast start will be will give us a huge advantage. John, this is really intriguing. Cam Warner in a hostile environment right out of the bat is a good QB test. I agree. No, this is going to be a good test for him. Now, where I think we have a very favorable matchup, I'm going to start on defense. And Marcus 305, good point here. Mertz is a very good quarterback. Let me just caution you guys all right now. He is a very good quarterback. However, their offensive line, to say their offensive line is suspect, I think is an understatement. I think we're going to be going after him. I think we're going to dial up the blitzes. I think we're going to be very aggressive here. Because if we can get him down, if we can get them behind the sticks, I think we're going to be in really good shape, because of the two sides of the ball on our side, you know, the defense really has more question marks than the offense. This offense, especially once things really get cranking and they start to gel, we're going to score a lot of points this year. So the key is going to be for this defense to make stops early and have Mertz running for his life. Their offensive line is suspect. On our D line, we got Ruben Bain, we got CJ Clark, we got the newly acquired, Simeon Barrow. We got Akeem Mesidor, who's going to be coming back from his injury. We got the kid from Marshall. I'm blanking on his name right now. Elijah Alston. We're probably going to bring in another portal D end, plus our linebackers. We got a lot of speed at linebacker. I think we're going to use that speed to our advantage. We're going to come with the blitzes early, and we're going to pressure them. So I think that's how we're going to counteract Florida's advantage, which I think in this game, if anything, if there's anything they also might get us with beside the crowd, if they beat us, it's schematically. I don't think it's because their talent is better than ours. They do have a very talented receiver in Eugene Wilson, but I kind of favor our corners in that matchup. So whether you send a blitz or hell, whether you get some coverage sacks, let our front four get to the quarterback, they should be able to. So that's a matchup that I favor us, our D line against their offensive line. I think we can get some pressure on him. Let's see. I think if we score on the first two drives, let's say touchdowns, this game will be over. They will quit. You're not wrong. We go up quick 14-0 lead. I could see that happening for sure. Yes, I do think Mertz is a pretty good quarterback, but obviously I give us the advantage there, it being Cam Ward. Now, where I am a little nervous is their defensive line against our O-line, specifically the interior. Let me tell you why. They have that defensive tackle. I want to say it's Cam Jackson, the big 360, 370 pound dude that plays nose tackle. He's an absolute monster. Okay, he's very disruptive, and he can give us some problems. He could totally give us some problems, because remember, the matchup could be him going up against the newly acquired Zach Carpenter. So we'll see if he's able to hold his own, if we're going to have to double team him. Hopefully, we can scheme certain plays where, maybe you run like a little trap where there's a pulling guard that blocks him from the side or something like that. You can scheme it where maybe you match up Inez Cooper on him instead of Carpenter on every play. But yeah, I think neutralizing him will be key. If you can neutralize him and not let him be too much of a factor, not let him get too disruptive and get into the backfield, then I think we're going to be okay. Gators struggle to stop the run. As a team, you are correct. I'm just talking about one specific guy, one matchup that has me a little bit concerned. As a team, though, I do trust our offensive line, trust Coach Mirabal, I trust Coach Cristobal to have those boys prepared. Again, neutralize that one threat, keep Cam Ward's jersey clean, give him clean pockets, and establish a run. I think we're going to be fine. Especially establishing a run. That's going to be massive, because again, that's going to keep their biggest weapon, Graham Mertz, in that offense, their biggest potential threat, off the field. Also, their running backs aren't bad. So, keep that in mind. If we're able to swarm to the ball, that's also going to be key. Yeah, it's interesting. If I look at the Gators, I don't think they're a team that's built to come from behind. I also agree with you there. Yeah. That whole, jumping out to a fast start, it's always big in every football game, obviously, but jumping out to a fast start in this game, getting a quick 10-point lead, 14-point lead, something like that, oof, that could mean everything. That would be massive in this game. Let's see. Quick passing play will help the O-line if they have problems inside. We know Cam gets it out really quick. Yeah, he can get it out quick. We definitely have the playmakers on the outside. That's another matchup I find favorable. Our receivers against their secondary, specifically their corners. But keep this in mind. There's a caveat to that. They did kind of overhaul their defensive coaching staff. So, this is their first game with some new faces on that side of the ball, on the coaching staff, I mean. So, we could see some things that we could see a couple things early on that we're not ready for. We might need to weather the storm at first. But again, give Cam Ward time to throw, give him a clean pocket. Our receivers, X, Horton, Jacoby, Sam Brown, they're going to win those one-on-one matchups. They're going to get wide ass open. And I'm not even mentioning Arroyo. He will be utilized in this offense. He looked great in the spring. He has a chance to tear up that defense. Yes, our wide receivers against their corners. Yeah, I like us in that matchup for sure. Trying to think what else would make me nervous. Yeah, that is pretty much it as far as their potential threats. Getting out to a quick start so the crowd can get into it. You don't want that. Our defense getting in a position where we're getting out schemed. Maybe we're not getting off the field on third down. So, we're out there much longer than we should be. We're getting tired. Guys are getting open. They're just finding soft spots in the defense. I hope we don't get out schemed. That would be the only way that's the only crack in the dam that I see. If their offense out schemes our defense. If our defense, again, that's why I think we need to generate pressure early. If we can generate pressure, maybe cause a couple of turnovers, that'll set up our offense really well. Marcus 305, who's running back 2? Is it Lyle? No, I don't think it's Lyle. Although he's going to have something to say when he arrives because physically I think he's ready. But running back 2, game 1, I'm not going to say Fletcher because, I don't know if anyone's expecting him back for game 1. I would love it, but maybe I'm not getting my hopes up too high on that one just to be safe. So I'm not going to say Fletcher for week 1. It will likely be probably somebody like AJ Allen, Chris Johnson and Chris Wheatley-Humphrey are kind of like, third down scat back type running backs that they're fast in the open field. You want to get them in the open field, maybe on passing downs, get it to them on a screenplay. So they're kind of specialists. So I don't think I would name either one of those guys running back 2. It could be Elijah Lofton. I would not be surprised by that at all because we all heard, the talk about him in spring, and I was able to see it myself. The dude does not look like a freshman with the ball in his hands, that's for sure. And if you told me he's running back 2 right now, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, number 1. And number 2, I would feel pretty good. If he gets 10 carries week 1. But nah, if you're true running back 2, you're probably going to get more than 10 carries. So it probably wouldn't be Lofton for that reason. I could see him getting a few carries, like 5, 7, 10 carries every game, but I don't think more than that because they would move him around a lot. Just because of experience alone, it's probably going to end up being AJ Allen, unless from here between now and then they go portal shopping. I don't think so. I think their room is good the way it is. Is Lyle fast enough? I can't tell when watching highlights. He's fast enough. Yes. I wouldn't say he's Hellcat fast. I don't say he's not Chris Johnson fast. Those guys have elite speed, But Lyle is he's fast. But he's a bigger bodied back. Physically looks the part already. So yeah, that running back 2 competition in the fall now is going to be interesting. If Fletcher is going to miss some time, which people are kind of expecting that he might not be ready for game 1. And that's fine. You got AJ Allen, who's a veteran, and you got Lyle, Chris Johnson, Wheatley Humphrey, and Elijah Lofton. But yeah, now that I think of it some more, Elijah Lofton could be more of like a third down specialist, goal line specialist kind of guy. I don't know if I see him as a true running back 2 just yet, but could develop into that during the season. I could totally see that. The Gators run misdirection. That gave us problems against Louisville. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the scheming. I could totally see a scenario where on certain drives, they're like kind of out scheming us, out X's and O'ing us, and we're not getting off the field on third down. That would be very frustrating. If we can get off the field on third down, especially early, those first few possessions, I will feel a lot better. Give that ball back to Cam Ward, let them put points on the board, and get a comfortable lead. Lyle's style of running fits Miami perfectly. Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, no, if you haven't seen Lyle's tape, please go watch it. It's great to watch. He is very balanced, tough to bring down, deceptively fast for a guy that's so big. Let's see. So CJ's getting passed. No, I don't think CJ's getting passed up. I just think he's still growing. He's still kind of a small dude. Elite speed. If you want to go with kind of like a thunder and lightning combination of Martinez and CJ, hey, then maybe he is running back 2. It depends on what they want to do on offense. If they're running more of a power package, they're trying like a short yardage kind of thing. Are they going to? I just want to see them use him and Hellcat in space. Those are 2 guys that need to get the football, each of them a handful of times in space, so they can make a move on somebody and get a big play. I didn't see enough of that last year. Maybe they didn't feel CJ was ready. I would have loved to have seen that more because, I mean, even though he was a true freshman, he had the speed last year. How will teams double team Bain and Barrow, both on the left side of the D-line? That's a great question. I don't know. That's why Mario went out and got so many disruptive guys, and you're forgetting CJ Clark. CJ Clark is going to be a very productive player for us. Mark my words. He's going to be very good. And then you got Marley Cook coming off the bench, who I think is also going to be solid. And you got Ahmad Moten. And then you got Justin Scott. You never know. I don't know if week 1, but you never know. He's that talented. Let's see how he looks when he comes in. Horton, he's supposed to take a step forward. If we go out and get a transfer D end, I know Tyler Barron is a big time target. Let's say hypothetically we get a guy like him, very talented, big bodied dude who can get into the backfield, who can set the edge. Yeah, I love our D line against their O line. I love that matchup. But yeah, I don't know. Teams are going to be double teaming and chipping Ruben Bain all season long. And guess what? He's got the reputation now. So he is going to have like guys holding him, and they're actually going to call it. Hopefully, this is ACC refs we're talking about, but whatever. Yeah, they're going to call those holds now. So they can't get away with grabbing him by the jersey and pulling him to the ground. They're going to have to double team him. That's going to occupy a blocker. And knowing Ruben Bain, he's probably still going to bust through that. Preferred uniform for game 1. I'm thinking all white. Yeah, probably going to be all white. Let me think. What would the Gators wear? Blue on white? Nah, I want old school, white on orange. That's my preferred. You guys tell me what you think. But yeah, I don't know. I got too many bad memories over the years of the all whites. It's kind of like the all black uniforms that we usually don't perform well in them. The all whites, to me, I have nightmares. It's the same. Yeah, I like white on orange. I still have memories of the 03 game against FSU in the rain in Tallahassee, where pretty much Sean Taylor beat them by himself. That day, we broke out the white on orange for the first time in a few years. We hadn't worn that on the road in a long time because that was the old school, like 80s, 90s road go-to uniform. Say, really good show, man. First time really sitting here. I'm enjoying this. Oh, I'm glad you are, man. I'm appreciating you participating in the chat. Yes, white on orange, I agree. Didn't Tebow beat us all whites as well? Yes. If my memory serves me right, we were wearing the all whites that day. And that was the last time we visited Gainesville? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because the last time we played them was in Orlando. Last time before that was here, 2013. We beat them. Yeah, that was the last time we went to Gainesville, 08, and we were wearing the all whites. My one good memory of the all whites, I think, is the 05 Virginia Tech game. Other than that, I feel like we've been getting smoked in them. Let's see what Barron, I think, is a Cane. I feel pretty confident about Barron coming to Miami. That would be, he'd fit great. And yeah, at a position of need, we need another proven veteran guy. Because Mesidor is a bit of a question mark with his injury. If they're both healthy, oh my God. And you do need to replace Nigel Kelly, even though, yeah, he had his injury issues, but you were expecting him to get healthy and step in this year and have a role. He's gone now. So you got to put him in. And then behind them, you know, if you're going 3 deep, then you got the talented freshmen like Cole McConaughey, Marquise Lightfoot, that they can get a couple, like a package here and there. White on orange. A lot of people are saying white on orange. John, year 3 of Mario, this should be his best team so far. This is the best roster. Tell me if you guys agree. This is the best roster, I think, since that 2013 season. And I pick out 2013 specifically because that was the season, if you remember. We started 7-0. We went up to Tallahassee. That was the year they had Jameis Winston. They went on to win the national title, and we lost that game. We lost a couple there, and then we ended up, I think, finishing like 9-4. You know, solid, you know, decent year. But on that team, that was Stephen Morris at quarterback, Duke Johnson at running back. I think the entire starting offensive line, that was when we had like McDermott and Linder and Feliciano. I think all 5 dudes, Flowers, Henderson, all 5 guys got to the NFL. That was a very good O-line. D-line, you had Chicolo, you had Denzel Perriman, you had Deion Bush, Artie Burns, I think, was on that team. You had a lot of NFL players on that team. That's why I'm thinking, I mean, they kind of choked in a couple of games. They lost a couple of games they should have won, and they went 9-4. But roster-wise, I think we haven't had that good of a roster since, and that was a decade ago now. This is the best roster, at least since 2013, maybe more. 2013 was a talented team. Al Golden did not use them right. Yeah. Also, if you remember, Stephen Morris tweaked his Achilles, and he kind of was playing with that the rest of the season. You could tell it like held him back in certain games. He wasn't quite the same because Stephen Morris, early in the season, he looked like an NFL quarterback. And I think that kind of hurt his development a little bit. But yeah, no, that team, that solid roster, like top to bottom. Pat O'Donnell was the punter who ended up punting for the Bears, I think. Let's see roster, but I like the roster, but always thought Bain would be junior. He would be ready. I didn't count Mario's transition class to be as real as a real Mario class. Lightfoot and those guys are still small. They're still small, but I think they can come in and make a few plays. I could see Lightfoot maybe playing his 4 games and redshirting. McConaughey, though, looks the part. He has the size. He has the strength. He could probably play the entire season. And that's one of the reasons we're going to the portal for these depth pieces, because then those freshmen, you can keep them for that extra year. And then, rely on them more later, and then you have more high school guys that stuck around. What up, man? Yes, when we played them in Gainesville, all our linebacker were freshmen. Yeah, that was except Colin McCarthy, who was getting tackled like every other play that game. They didn't call it, but whatever. Yeah, I remember it was McCarthy. It was Spence, who was a true freshman, who got a sack on Tim Tebow. I remember that. Ramon Buchanan, Marcus Robinson. Yeah, no. That whole Brandon Harris was starting at corner. That whole team, up and down, littered with true freshmen. I'm shocked we kept it as close as we did. Let's see. Baron still think is a game. Or I already hit that one. Yes, I feel like Lance Guidry going to scheme to be very aggressive with Florida and the personnel we got now. Yeah, I think that chess match is going to be very key. Yes, Spence's sack was the best play we had the whole game. See if I missed anything. Martinez needs a 100-yard game, and we got this. Martinez gets a 100-yard game. I think that's a win for sure. I'd be shocked if it's not. And I think that is it. How do I feel about Lamar Williams decommit? Did that just happen? Because I did not catch that. Yeah, let me know if that, yeah, if it happened earlier today, I would have seen it. But if it was like in the last couple hours, I probably wouldn't have. I mean, you never like to see, yes, today. Okay. Yeah, you never like to see guys decommit, but it's recruiting. It is what it is. Yes, he's gone on. Yeah, I mean, Lamar, that was a little bit of a project, but definitely had the size and had elite size and could develop. But that's the game. That's recruiting. It happens. Wish them the best. You never like to see guys walk, but recruiting I know is going very well right now. We've got a lot of high profile targets. Some that we're in the lead for or that we're in the top 3. Yeah, I already feel good about who we got in this class committed. Even if Luke Nickel ends up being the only quarterback, that kid can spin it, man. I like him a lot, but we'll see what happens there. I think recruiting's going great right now. I have no complaints there. I like to see JoJo get a play in and take it long. You know what? As we all do this. We imagine how the game's going to go in our head, different scenarios. I keep picturing, and it just keeps popping into my head, when us getting a big play in the passing game, either hitting a bomb or hitting one over the middle, somebody breaks a tackle and takes it the distance. Every time I picture that in my head, for whatever reason, I'm picturing JoJo in my head. The dude is very explosive, very fast. I don't know what people were getting, where people were getting that he wasn't fast. But I am seeing, when I see a big play in my mind in the swamp on August 31st, for whatever reason, I keep seeing JoJo. That's who keeps popping into my head. I could totally see JoJo getting, hitting at least one big play. Yeah, French named Texas as leader, LSU being his third. Yeah, I was hearing a shout out to Lockdown Canes, by the way. I was listening to earlier today. They had Brian Smith on, who's always got great stuff about recruiting and all that. Apparently Jamie French is always changing his list. So don't be too concerned about that. Jamie French, I think, is one of those that if we win, we'll get him. Just like Jeremiah Smith last year. We didn't win like we should have. And we were still right there. We were still a very close second behind Ohio State. Imagine if we won 2 more last year. Jeremiah Smith would probably be here. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that. It is what it is. But there are some absolute beasts at wide receiver in this next class. Linebacker is going to be an amazing haul. Wide receiver, I think, is going to be an amazing haul. It's probably going to be it might be 3 guys again, maybe 4. We'll see. We'll see who leaves this year. If we can make room for them, it'll be 3 to 4 receivers. And I love a lot of the names that we're going after. Cortez Mills, fantastic, love him. And then you got Jamie French, Dallas Wilson. I like where we're at with these guys, and as long as we take care of business on the field, if we go out and win 10 games or more, it is all bets are off. We can get anybody. So this year, more than any other year, got to win on the field. The recruiting class will be top 5 at a minimum. It's certainly trending that way. What's up, Demetrius? Yeah. Ayo. What's going on, dude? Great show as always. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, I feel like the receiver haul is going to be a nice one. Linebacker, corner is going to be a nice one, because that's another one where I think we need to make a statement, because the criticism has been, well, one area Mario has lacked is defensive back, specifically corner. Now, he did get Damari Brown last year, who he was a true freshman, but in the time that he was pushed into action, he performed pretty well. Had a very good game against Florida State in Tallahassee, where, all the pressure's on you, and he performed. He delivered as a true freshman against an NFL receiver. So I think we got one there. Mario did go out, and I believe Daryl Porter was his guy through the portal. That wasn't like an old Manny recruit or something. That was Mario. And then I think in this coming class, keep an eye out for Ryan Mack. I think he's going to be really, really good. I think he's very underrated. But definitely we need to get more. We need to rake in some more corners, get a couple of more of those blue chip guys, so that we don't have to go to the portal next year, because Daryl Porter next year will be gone. Jadis Richard, I think he'll have another year of eligibility, because he came here with 3 years left. He might move into a starting role. He might leave in today's day of the portal. You never know. You never know who's going to be retained. So yeah, corner's one they got to hit hard. They did get Zaquan at safety, so they've gotten some guys, but I think they're going to really focus more on that position. I hope Mario is done with the portal heavy now. I hope so too. I hope it's not a long-term solution, because it's not a long-term solution. I think it's more sustainable building through high school recruits and establishing those relationships in the area and setting up those pipelines. That's how you ultimately got to do it. Every year you're going to supplement with the portal, though. That's a thing that's never going away. It's just like free agency in the NFL. You're going to lose some guys, so you got to replace them somehow. And you got these open spots, and the high school class already came in. What are you going to do? You got to go sign a free agent. That's what the portal is. And what I think is going to be the new trend is, if a team that thinks they can contend either for a conference championship in their conference, or even compete for a national championship, maybe compete for a playoff spot, any team that's close to that, and maybe they're not too sure about their quarterback, guess what? They're going to be portal shopping for a quarterback. That's going to be a thing every year now. All right? They're going to be back channeled like crazy, probably. And, we're going to have to get used to that. Like Miami, sorry to tell you, the next quarterback is probably one that we're going to get out of the portal. I'm a big fan of Reese Poffenbarger, and I love that he's here. I hope he sticks around next year to at least provide a solid backup. But the way Mario is building this roster, he wants to win now. This year, next year, the year after, and I mean win-win. If you think our roster is loaded now, bring in another top 5 class. Now we got 3 top 10 classes in a row. He's going to want a stud quarterback. He's going to, they're going to be looking, especially if this experiment with Cam Ward works out. They're going to want to do it again. Okay, so be prepared for that until we start that quarterback factory, which maybe Luke Nichols the first one. We'll see. Let's see. Yes, we're not done recruiting. Yes, I hope Mario goes not too crazy in the transfer portal. Yeah, I think I see the transfer portal being less of a thing for us next year, but we'll still go get, 5 guys, 8 guys just to supplement, because you're going to lose guys that you didn't think you were going to lose. It's not just before you can plan ahead, right? Like, oh, these guys are graduating. And then I have these guys that are juniors, but are probably going to get drafted. So they're leaving. You have this whole other group now and you don't know who they are. You have this whole other group now that they might up and leave. And you have this other group that maybe they're getting paid a lot and they didn't really perform. So they're getting nudged out. It's what it is. Hate to sound that blunt, but that's what the game has become. So there's going to be a certain amount of attrition, a certain amount of guys that leave that you weren't expecting at the beginning of the season. So portal will always be a thing. It's just how much of a thing. Okay, is there going to be like everybody on your team? Are all your impact guys going to be portal guys? That's the thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to hear we got top classes when they don't even stay. I agree with you. The good thing is the ones that are playing and that they're performing, they're staying. Those are the guys that are safe. Ruben Bain is safe. Damari Brown is safe. If you step in as a freshman and do something, right, you got a spot on this team. Let's see. Corners definitely need, but what's the point when we get good recruits to come only to sell? They don't get the experience. That's what turns a recruit off and want to transfer. Yeah. Well, that's why Damari Brown, for example, him getting experience was important. Him getting playing. Freshmen getting playing time now is way more important than it was before. You got to see what you got right away, number one. So it's important for the coach. And number two, it's important for the player to make him feel like, hey, am I wanted here? Yeah, cornerback recruiting has been terrible. Secondary in general, besides Zaquan. Zay's a stud, but losing Mincy was tough. Yeah, I wanted Mincy too. He was excellent, or he is excellent. We're getting more, though. And, don't sleep on OJ Federic. Don't sleep on Ryan Mack. I think we got solid kids there. And let's see how they get developed because, you got a good secondaries coach. You brought in Chevis Jackson, who he's got some recruiting chops, but is known for being a teacher. So, see what happens there. All right, guys. I think that's it for me. Just want to riff a little bit with you guys, talk about the upcoming game against Florida. Next week, I want to keep this going. You know what? Why not? Next week, let's talk about the next game on the schedule, not FAMU. Probably, should I cover? You let me know. Should I cover Ball State, or should I skip that one and go straight to USF? I want to kind of go through every game on the schedule now that the rosters are kind of like a little more set. I want to do that. So yeah, for next week, I'll go into the next matchup. I may just go straight to USF. Because I think after USF is Vatek. Okay. Thank you, John. Yes, USF. Okay, cool. Yeah. USF is more challenging. Yeah. No, USF's, I think we're going to beat them, but they're no joke. And it's on the road, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, okay. We'll talk about them next. All right, man. So, AO had to get that in there right before I finished. All right. So that's it for me. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And as always, go Canes. Have a good night.